For me, sewing is entertainment. Just like going to a movie or watching a sporting event, creating with fabric and thread is enjoyable and rewarding. I'd like to show you how to sew a tote in an evening. It's sewing entertainment at its best. Here's the roomy tote that I created in an evening. It's a great size, about 18 inches wide, 12 inches deep, many pockets, snap closures. It really is a comfortable tote to wear and a great tote to make. The fabric that I chose includes batiks and cottons. You can use lightweight to heavyweight. The choice is yours. If you're using batiks and cottons, please add fusible interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric. Cut out your pattern piece, and the pattern piece really that I'm using is a template rather than a pattern piece. It's the Trace and Create template, the Florida collection from Clover. You can make 6 variations of the pattern from this template. Die cut areas so that you can trace exactly the shape that you need. The markings even include a place for the snap, markings for the strap, and the pocket shapes are included within. The side panel has, again, pocket areas and placement for the feet. It's very exacting. You're going to trace this to the wrong side of the fused interfacing. I have already marked a center line on my fabric. I'd mark a placement for the snap, trace around the edges. At the top, I'm going to follow the curve, mark the strap placement, very simple. Then you flip it over and mark the second half, following the same die cut areas. You could make this pattern over and over again and it will always be the same size. You'll never cut it down. You'll be cutting other areas, tracing the side area, tracing the pockets, and after you've traced these, then simply cut out your fabrics. One of the first accents that I like to add to my tote would be the piping area. The piping is created with a fusible piping. There's fusible web wrapped around a cording. It's called wrap and fuse. It's a wonderful combo. Cut your fabric 1 1/4 wide on the bias and then wrap the fabric around the wrap and fuse. As the name implies, we're going to glide the tip of the iron or a mini iron along the edge of the fabric and it fuses together. It's a fast step. Now it's time to do some sewing, adding the piping to the pocket edges. Since I cut the strips 1 1/4 wide, I will have a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. And here's how to sew it. To set up my Baby Localissimo, I'm going to attach the pearls and piping foot that will help me sew the piping just perfectly. It's hollowed on the underside to accommodate the cording portion of the piping. Just snap it on your machine and notice that the needle is in the center of the hollowed out area. When I place the piping underneath the foot, I'm going to move the needle position to the right so that it stitches right next to the piping. And then just sew. Since the fabric was cut the right width, I have an even 1/4 inch seam allowance aligning the edges. And now I'm going to match the lining portion. After cutting the threads, leave the machine at the same setting. Don't make any changes, just meet right sides together, aligning the lining portion. Place underneath the presser foot, lower the foot, and you'll find that the cording is sandwiched right in the correct area. And then restitch. I'm just going to stitch part of this for you, and after I restitch this and turn it to the right side, you will find that the piping is perfectly sandwiched for even, accurate accents. Stabilizers make the difference between a lackluster tote and a wow tote. Choose one of 2 options. The first option is to have canvas, cotton canvas and polyester fleece as a combo. It works great. Another option is to use a very firm, stiff stabilizer called Shape Flex. It's thick and firm, perfect for totes and bags. Cut the stabilizers the size of your pattern pieces, or in this instance, the totes, shapes of the templates. Then baste the stabilizers to the wrong side of the fabric. I've machine basted around the edges. You can see the interfacing and the stabilizer. Probably notice the snap. We had the snap placement marked exactly on the fabric, placed 1/2 of the snap on the center, the other half on the back of the pocket. Just align the two and you're ready to sew the side seams. 1/4 of an inch seams are the norm with the Trace and Create Florida collection, so the side panels to the center panel, both for the front and the back. And now you'll see the third option for a stabilizer. This is called Shape and Create, a stiff plastic stabilizer available in black or white. You cut it to the size listed on the pattern. It's easy to stitch, a little tricky to pin because of the stiffness the pins may bend. So I like to use double-sided basting tape, remove the tape, and use the tape as your pins. Next, stitch the Shape and Create to the tote. With my baby lock set at a straight stitch, 3.0 in length, I can easily stitch around the edges. The stitching is effortless. Consider adding feet to the bottom of your tote for additional style. The feet can be added with ease, and it adds professionalism as well as wearability. The template has a positioning mark for the feet placement. Simply place it on your fabric and mark with a pen through the opening. Then use an awl. With this awl, you'll make an opening through all of the layers on either side of the mark. 1, 2, just about 1/4 of an inch apart. It's the width of the prongs of the foot. Through the wrong side, insert the prongs through the openings of the fabric. If you've ever used a magnetic snap, this is the same technique. Apply the washer on the top, and you've added the professional touch. The next step is to sew the seams. The side seams are sewn first. For accuracy on my baby lock, I'm using 1/4 of an inch seam allowances. I prefer to use a baby lock 1/4 of an inch quilting foot. After both side seams are stitched, then you can stitch the corner seam. Align the side and lower seams and stitch. You'll be guaranteed perfect corners. Here's a sample of the bag turned right side out. Perforated fusible strap interfacing is one of the supplies that enables me to sew a tote in an evening. Fuse Create strap to the wrong side of 2-inch fabric strips and then press as we've done here. Then fold along the perforations. This sample has been pressed, and then to do the finishing touch, simply choose a decorative ribbon, grosgrain ribbon, center over the raw edges. Now just edge stitch, the strap is complete. You'll have some smaller lengths, shorter lengths of the Create strap sewn. Simply use these as strap connectors, connecting to D-rings or O-rings. Here's my sample at this point where the strap connectors have been matched to the markings where I traced right where the strap should go. It's that simple. Finish the inside of the tote with a slip-in lining technique. I created a lining using the same template pieces. Stitched, pressed the seams, slipped wrong sides together inside the tote. On this side of the tote, I have edge stitched the lining and the outer bag along the top edge. Now here's the piping. The rest of the piping you attach using that purl and piping foot to the top of the tote. But now we have all these raw edges. It's going to be finished very simply with grosgrain ribbon. The grosgrain ribbon is pinned along the piping. Now I've raised my machine to a free arm stitching technique so that I can sew easily along the edge. I've attached a zipper foot and moved the needle to the far left position. With this combination, you can easily stitch the ribbon, the grosgrain ribbon, across the top of your bag or tote. Now you'd sew all the way around, but I just want to show you the next stitching technique. Turn the ribbon to the inside. The piping becomes at the top of the tote, and all the raw edges are enclosed. Pin, and you would stitch along the lower edge. Let's take a look at the finished tote. With just a little bit of stitching, again using the free arm of your machine, stitch along that lower edge. On the outside of the tote, you'll have 1 row of stitching. The final step, attach the handles, the straps. You'll have the straps that we made just a few minutes ago, and just wrap it around the D-ring, enclosing the edge. Do a little bit of top stitching, and now you can see how you can create a tote in an evening. I hope you've enjoyed learning the entertainment and creative process of how to sew a tote in an evening. To learn more about the products used in this video, along with my favorite sewing machines, visit your participating baby lock retailer. Tell them Nancy sent you.